Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at Bubba Ho-Tep and the Cosmic Bloodsuckers. This is issue 1 from IDW. This is a weird book. It's written by Joshua Jakuga, art by Ted Galusha, colorist Ryan Hill, letterer Tom B. Long, and it was edited by Joe Hughes. IDW can be a real mixed bag sometimes, but they really knocked this one out of the park. It's definitely a mature book. There's nudity in it, there's some very vulgar language, and there's some gross scenes. The nudity I would be more concerned with than anything else. Everything else is kind of over the top. But we start out with a guy named Johnny Smack. He is a so-called bodyguard for Elvis, and him and Elvis hunt monsters at the behest of the Colonel. The Colonel meets with the President of the United States, which is Richard Nixon, but he meets with him in a secret underground lair where there's like masks of other presidents and Hitler and other famous people. It's really weird. There's like this bloody nose on Nixon. It's very strange. But they have a mission for the team. And a couple days later, the Colonel is meeting with Elvis and Johnny in Elvis's hotel room. And he makes them put on 3D glasses and watch an old Elvis movie that was filmed in New Orleans. And they see that through these 3D glasses that, in fact, some of the women in the scene are vampires. So they have to go down to New Orleans, and they get down by the banks of the Mississippi. A creepy ghost ship called the Nocturne shows up, and the Colonel steps off wearing a British hunting helmet and a small army of zombies, because apparently he controls zombies. It's not really explained and doesn't really matter, honestly. The book's just weird. And then they meet the rest of the so-called team, where there's a guy named John Henry, who's supposed to be a descendant of the John Henry who tried to beat a steel-driving machine. There's a guy named Jack that handles logistics. There's a guy called the Blind Man who sees things with the mind's eye. And then there's a lady who is known as Jenny Jo Dallas, also known as Raven, and she's an up-and-coming singer. So they are going to be the team that investigates the weird happenings of these people that are these vampires, plus there's like people that are folded up and disused, so it's got something to do with them. Apparently the Colonel also controls these people, has something on them that's forcing them to be kind of slave labor. So Elvis has an interesting conversation with Raven, where he explains that he is only working for the Colonel to get his mother's grist bag. It's this voodoo bag that holds someone's soul, and the Colonel has it, and he's blackmailing Elvis into hunting monsters for him. And Elvis mentions that he's thinking of getting a body double to pose as him, which is the whole plot of the movie Bubba Ho-Tep. So it's very interesting. These creatures are hanging out at this junkyard where we had seen a guy at the beginning of the book go in there drunk, and then we watched this poor victim get killed by this sloth-like thing that taps into his brain. So it's pretty interesting. I thought it was a lot of fun. The art isn't quite prime time, but it's definitely got a unique style to it, and I think it will probably find an audience. But overall, the book was a lot of fun. I thought the story was interesting. If you like the movie Bubba Ho-Tep, you might find this interesting. I didn't feel ripped off for my $4. I think that IDW is definitely getting better. Hopefully this series continues to be good. I think it's just a 4 or 5 issue miniseries, but I'm looking forward to reading the next issue. So that's my opinion on the matter. Thanks as always for listening. If you like the video, be sure and hit the like button. If you want to see more of what I'm doing here, be sure and hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And we hope to see you on the next one.